A weight transfer sled carries up to 65,000 pounds of movable iron on a steel frame. As the truck pulls forward, the weight crawls toward the front of the sled, pressing a steel pan into the dirt until the friction exceeds the truck's ability to move. Every foot the weight travels, the sled gets heavier. There is no algorithm for this, no launch control, no traction management software. There is a truck, a chain, and dirt, and the truck either moves or it does not. At county fairs across the Midwest, the lineup looks the same every summer. $60,000 Duramaxes, $78,000 Cummins Megatons, $95,000 Power Strokes with dealer plates still in the glove box, chrome stacks, LED bars, payment books thicker than the owner's manual. Then a rusted W350 dually backs into the line. Faded paint, cracked vinyl, $250,000 on the clock. The truck costs less than the down payment on the Ram next to it. The new truck guys look over the way you would look at a man in overalls at a black tie dinner. They stop laughing when the sled starts moving. No software, no sensors, no torque management, just steel, gears, and a driver's hand. The backbone of the W350 is its ladder frame, stamped from heavy-gauge steel and designed for a world where payloads weren't theoretical. Underneath, the Dana 60 front axle and Dana 70 rear axle do the heavy lifting. The Dana 70, with its 10-inch ring gear and 35 spline shafts, is rated for a gross axle weight of 14,000 pounds, numbers that make modern half-tons look ornamental. Up front, the Dana 60 takes the brunt of the sled's weight transfer, its 9-inch gear and 30 spline shafts built to survive the kind of abuse that would send lighter axles to the scrapyard. The transfer case is a new Process NP205, gear-driven and nearly indestructible. No chains, no planetary sets, just straight-cut gears in a cast-iron case. Its 2.48-to-1 low range multiplies torque without a hint of slip, and its input shaft is rated for 900 pound-feet, far beyond the stock Cummins output. The NP205 was standard issue on military trucks and farm haulers that did not have the luxury of failure. The Getrag G365 speed manual sits at the center of it all. Its shift pattern is pure H, no gates, no computer overrides, just a direct mechanical link from the driver to the wheels. Rated for 400 to 500 horsepower continuous, the G360 shrugs off the 160 horsepower and 400 pound-feet. The 5.9-liter Cummins delivers at 1,700 RPM. In a stock class pull, the Getrag's reliability ceiling is never in question. The clutch is mechanical, the shifter moves with intent, and every pound of torque reaches the axles unfiltered. This is a drivetrain built to survive, not to impress a spec sheet. When the chain goes tight and the sled starts to bite, nothing stands between the driver's hand and the dirt but steel and leverage. The heart of the W350 is a cast-iron brute, the 5.9-liter 12-valve Cummins called 6BT. This engine was never designed for comfort or polish. It was built for combines and irrigation pumps, then bolted into Dodge trucks almost as an afterthought. The block alone weighs in at 1,100 pounds, with a center of mass planted low and forward in the chassis. That weight is not ballast, it is leverage, forcing the front tires into the dirt when the sled starts to bite. Factory spec is 160 horsepower at 2,800 revolutions per minute, but the real story is torque. 400 pound-feet is delivered at just 1,700 revolutions per minute. The torque curve is flat, immediate, and mechanical. No computer, no sensors, no torque management. The only wire running to the fuel system is a single solenoid for shutoff. Everything else is pure linkage, steel rods from pedal to pump. At the core of that fueling system sits the Bosch Viv-E rotary injection pump. It is a cam-driven, fully mechanical unit, governed by a centrifugal flyweight system that meters fuel based on throttle position and engine speed. Push the pedal, and the pump delivers fuel instantly. No delay, no algorithm, just a direct mechanical response. The VE pump is rated for pressures up to 1,250 bar, but it is the positive displacement design that matters here. Every shot of diesel is precisely metered, and the timing is set by the cam and governor not by any electronic module. 12 valves, 2 per cylinder, handle the breathing. The head is simple, robust, and easy to service. There is no variable geometry, no exhaust gas recirculation, no diesel exhaust fluid tank. The entire system is built for reliability under load, not emissions compliance or marketing claims. In a stock class pull, this means the driver can command full fueling at any moment with no engine control module second-guessing his inputs. That is the difference. The W350's torque arrives exactly when the driver calls for it and never leaves until his foot says so. Every truck on the fairground starts with the same reality check, the stock class rulebook. Forget aftermarket turbos, trick suspension, or hidden tuning modules. If you did not drive it here with a license plate, you are not running. Entry runs $25 to $50, cash at the gate, and an official with a clipboard circles each truck before it lines up. Hood pops, VIN checks, a flashlight under the chassis, no deleted emissions, no hidden traction aids, no swapped axles beyond what Dodge or Ford stamped from the factory. The daily driver rule is not a suggestion, it is the backbone of the class. If you cannot haul feed on Monday, you are not pulling on Sunday. The sled chain is always the same, 30 feet long, measured and flagged, hitched to a factory drawbar or bumper eye. No custom length tricks, no shackle extensions. The full pull line sits at 300 feet, laser measured, with a scoreboard ready to call out every inch. If a truck makes it the full distance, the run stands. No reruns, no protests. Officials weigh each truck, checking for sandbags or hidden ballast. If you are over the limit, you are done. If you are under, you run as is. Stock class means stock fueling, stock turbo, stock internals. No programmer, no ECM tune, no launch control. The only variable is the driver's right foot and what the factory built. Modern trucks roll in with stability control, torque management, and a computer ready to cut power if it senses wheel hop. The W350 arrives with none of that, just a single wire to shut off fuel, and every ounce of torque delivered the instant the chain goes tight. One rulebook, one set of numbers, and no excuses. That is how the field is leveled, and why what happens next actually matters. The sled is the silent antagonist of every county fair truck pull. Its weight box starts at rest, loaded with up to 65,000 pounds of steel, sand, or iron shot. As the truck launches, a mechanical drive ratchets the box forward, shifting mass from the sled's wheels onto a flat steel pan that scrapes the dirt. The further the truck drags it, the more of that weight presses down, and the harder it gets to move. There's no trickery, just raw physics. The drag force is F equals mu times N. Mo, the coefficient of friction, sits around 0.3 for steel on steel. N is the normal force, rising with every inch the box creeps forward. With a full load, that means nearly 20,000 pounds of resistance fighting the truck by the end of the run. The pan's contact patch is roughened to prevent slip, and its dimensions are set by rule 12 by 6 inches, nothing exotic. The rails underneath are steel, spaced precisely, and the pan grinds along them with a sound that signals the moment the battle turns. Every foot the sled travels, the friction increases, and the truck's momentum bleeds away. There's no mercy in the system. Lose speed, and the drag wins. That's why the first 30 feet are critical. Any hesitation, any loss of throttle discipline, and the sled's rising bite will pin the truck short of the full pull line. The scoreboard doesn't care about horsepower or price tags. It's a contest of traction, weight transfer, and the unyielding math of friction. The sled doesn't play favorites. It just punishes hesitation and rewards momentum. For the W350, every pound of its iron block and every ounce of its forward weight is a weapon in this fight. The first to hook is a late-model Duramax, all chrome and Bluetooth, idling with a quiet confidence that only dealership financing can buy. The scoreboard blinks as the starter waves him on. The turbo spools, tires bite, and for the first 60 feet, it looks like money well spent. But then the traction control flinches, torque trims, the rear hops, and the digital throttle hesitates. The The sled grinds him down at 247 feet. Next up is a power stroke, fresh off a detail shop, running a full suite of stability and traction management. The launch is smooth, but the moment the pan loads up and the dirt starts to claw at the tires, the ECM senses slip. Power cuts. The truck lurches, regains, then loses again. Final distance, 240 feet. Another Duramax, tuned but still within stock class rules, claws out 243 feet before the computer calls time. A Ram Limited, sticker price north of $80,000, lines up with the confidence of a bank vault. The ECM transmission cycles through its logic, but as soon as the sled's box moves forward, the electronics clamp down. The truck makes it to 260 feet, then the torque management trims output and it stalls at 265. The unofficial favorite, a 2024 Ram 3500, puts on a show, traction control off, tow and haul mode engaged, every setting set to max SOA. For a moment, it surges past the others, but as the sled's bite increases, the computer intervenes to protect the drivetrain. The wheels hop, the throttle pulls back, and the run ends at 278 feet. Owners gather at the fence, staring at the scoreboard, shaking their heads. Each truck cost more than the W350's entire resale value, yet not one crosses the 280-foot mark. The crowd starts to murmur. The old Dodge waits in the lineup, battered, idling with a mechanical tick, as the field of contenders shrinks and the scoreboard resets. The W350 rolls forward, battered fenders and all, chain hitch tight, idling with that unmistakable Cummins tick. There is no bravado from the driver, just a glance at the gauges and a hand steady on the shifter. The flag drops. Clutch out, throttle pinned, the old Dodge lunges as the sled's pan bites into the dirt. The Bosch VE pump whines, delivering fuel on demand, no hesitation, no digital lag, just cam and linkage. The front tires dig in, pushed down by the 1,100-pound block sitting low and forward. Every pound of that cast iron is working now, forcing traction into the earth as the sled's weight box ratchets forward. Momentum builds. The pan scrapes, the crowd leans in. 60 feet, then 100, then 200. The Cummins holds torque at 1,700 revolutions per minute, the Getrag G360 swallowing every shift without drama. No torque cut, no software intervention, just a direct line from pedal to pump. The sled's resistance climbs, 20,000 pounds of drag by the last 50 feet, but the W350 does not falter. The chain stays tight, the front end never hops. The scoreboard blinks 301.7 feet. Full pull. Certified by the tech official, distance logged, and the scoreboard flashes the declaration that every modern truck failed to reach. The crowd erupts. Flags wave, hats fly. Owners of trucks that cost 5 times as much stare in disbelief. The driver sits quietly, engine idling, as the cheers roll over the track. For one run, the rusted W350 did not just compete, it outpulled every truck in the class. The result is not a fluke or a loophole. It is a mechanical fact, certified and undeniable. The question is not how a relic won, but why nothing newer could. On the county fair scales, the numbers don't flatter the old Dodge, they reveal its secret. Corner by corner, a certified 4-point weigh-in puts the W350's curb weight just north of 6,000 pounds, with the front axle carrying about 1,080 pounds. That's 18% of the truck's mass pressing down on the front tires, before the sled ever moves an inch. It's not an accident or a lucky guess. The 1,100-pound Cummins block sits low and forward, its center of mass planted nearly 2 feet ahead of the firewall, right above the kingpins of the Dana 60. Every pound of cast iron is leverage, mechanical insurance that, when the sled ratchets forward and the pan starts biting, the front end doesn't just float or skate, it digs. Modern trucks spread their weight across a longer wheelbase, tucking the engine further back for crash ratings and cabin space. The result is less static load on the front axle and more on the rear. On the W350, the opposite is true. The frame rails are short, the cab is compact, and the Cummins block is a deadweight anchor. When the sled's pan starts to grind, The physics are simple. The chain pulls up and forward. The pan's resistance tries to lift the truck's nose, and that front-biased mass counters the moment. More weight on the front tires means more normal force, and more normal force means higher friction, traction measured in pounds, not marketing. The numbers from the scale session aren't just trivia. They dictate how the truck interacts with the sled. As the weight box slides forward, the pan's drag increases, but so does the load transferred to the front axle. The W350's chassis, with its ladder frame and heavy front end, is designed to absorb that transfer without pitching or hopping. When the chain goes tight, the front tires bite harder, not less. Every inch the sled moves, the truck's advantage grows. The Dana 60 up front and Dana 70 out back are rated for 10,000 and 14,000 pounds, respectively, far more than the truck ever sees in a stock pull. There is no fear of axle wind-up, no risk of bending a spindle or snapping a shaft. The weight is a weapon, not a liability. In the stock class, there is no room for sandbags or hidden ballast. Officials circle the truck, check the scales, and sign off on the numbers. The 18% front mass is not theory, it is stamped and certified. That is the mechanical edge that lets the W350 claw for every inch, long after lighter, rear-biased trucks have lost their bite. It is not about headline horsepower or torque curves on a brochure. It is about where the pounds land when the chain is tight and the pan is grinding. That is the difference between spinning out at 260 feet and dragging the sled past the full pull line. In the world of modern diesels, the driver's input is filtered through layers of software. The 2024 Ram 3500 claims 1,075 pound-feet of torque, but the engine control module stands between the engine and the ground. In 4-low, that number is trimmed the moment the computer senses trouble. When the sled grabs and the wheels start to hop, the engine control module reacts instantly, pulling fuel, closing the throttle, and prompting the Aisin transmission to shift early to protect its clutch packs. The run starts strong, then falters as the electronics step in, prioritizing hardware over human intent. Contrast that with the W350. Here, the Bosch Valve E-pump connects the accelerator directly to the injectors. No sensors, no torque management, just a throttle cable and a single wire for fuel shutoff. Every pound-foot of torque the engine can make is available as long as the driver stays in it. The only limit is the governor spring and the driver's resolve. In a world ruled by algorithms, this is simplicity, torque delivered without interference. The Aisin transmission's shift logic is a fortress of algorithms, designed to keep warranty claims at bay and failures rare. Wheel hop triggers a power cut. A spike in load brings an early shift, and the run ends before it begins. The driver becomes a spectator, watching as the computer decides what is safe. The W350's simplicity is more than nostalgia. When the sled digs in, nothing stops the driver from holding the engine at its 1,700 revolutions per minute torque peak, pouring every ounce into the ground. The Getrag G360 ignores vibration sensors and torque limits. If more is needed, a P7100 pump swap from a later 12-valve is a straightforward upgrade, turning the 6BT into a platform for over 1,000 horsepower, still with no electronics between foot and fuel. Economics tell the same story. A clean W350 dually with a 12-valve Cummins and Getrag manual lists for $4,000 to $8,000. That is the full price. A new Ram 3500 requires a down payment of 15% of $55,000, which is $8,250. For less than signing the loan, you can own a truck that outpulls the showroom star and never needs a software update. The real advantage is not nostalgia, it is control. The W350 gives the driver authority, no torque cut, no algorithm, just iron, fuel, and nerve. In 2024, factory-stable engine control modules and digital nannies still handicap $80,000 diesels at the county fair. But a 5.9-liter Cummins W350 160 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque at 1,700 revolutions per minute, one-wire shutoff, and 1,100 pounds of iron lets the driver command every last pound of torque. Simplicity wins where traction, control, and leverage matter most. The future is software, but the dirt still belongs to those who know their machine. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.